AGAPE. Malaga interviews. July 4, 2019. In the time of the present instant, of your eternal presence, AGAPE. In the heart of each person's heart, where you can never disappear or appear, where the form can never inhabit you, where the gift of grace is the gift of every instant, where nothing holds you, I stand, in the heart of your flesh, in the heart of the instant, all in the same place, in the same instant. Where you have given yourself the gift of grace, the gift of truth is marked in you by the seal of freedom, by the seal of truth, where I give myself to the extent that you give yourself, where you are, through this flesh and through the instant. In the dream of your form, in the dream of this world, as in the dream of any form, I am, being and not being, conjugated to the present, where you lay all the burdens of the weight of the dream, I am what you are, the way, the truth and the life. This is the transparency and evidence of the truth, which needs no one, no form or identity, where you name yourself, where you give yourself, I am. Where you have always been, ignoring all time, space and dimension, where no framework can exist, where no time or space can be deployed or measured. This is the fire of truth, the fire that consumes what only passes through, what only exists, in the place of your heart and in the time of this instant. And life's invitation to no longer limit yourself, in form as well as form, and in all identity, is the ineffable joy. Where you are settled, where nothing is missing, I am what you are, beyond all appearances, beyond yourself and yet within you, the same silence, the same truth, the same beauty. Where silence is a testimony to the unspeakable lived. Where presence and absence are combined through your flesh, in the same magnificence, in this instant when time no longer has to be counted, and where space can no longer be measured in distance, but only in evidence. I invite you to laugh and smile at your gratitude, where you no longer have any support or reference point, because everything is in its place. Silence. And at this instant, and in AGAPE, time cannot be measured. And in this grace, where you recognize yourself in AYOUN, where joy is gift and acceptance, truth is given to you by the gift of yourself, to the known as well as to the unknown. Silence. And there, in the silence of our presence, in the interstice of my words as well as my silences, is completed any illusion of lack, in the fire of the joy of the lived truth, settles the innocence that needs no knowledge, nor any attribute. I embrace you as you embrace me, beyond all desire, where the unknown, its lightness and joy revealed. Silence. And there, together, without distinction of form, without distinction of history, age or appearance, without tomorrow and without past, available to be, available at the instant, you can only embrace yourself, without limit and without break, where you have nothing to see but fullness and joy. Silence. And in this silence, without form and vision, the perfection of truth, merging being and non-being, at the heart of each presence is revealed, where you know yourself and recognize yourself, without question and without doubt. Let yourself be free of all ideas and thoughts, as well as of all history, where neither yesterday nor tomorrow can survive. This is the truth, this is the evidence of everyone. Where nothing can be reflected upon or discussed, where nothing can be opposed, in the alpha that is being lit at this instant, where you can only listen and hear the truth of silence, the nakedness of love. Where no resistance or reticence can be raised or evoked, where silence erases the illusion of time, such as the illusion of space and form. You, who are me like everyone else. Where there are differences, they cannot be maintained or even subsisted. This is the gift of grace, where nothing can be distant, separate, increased, divided or multiplied. I invite you to recognize yourself, beyond all history and feelings. This is the truth, this is your truth, where the dream no longer has consistency, where the dream no longer has density or even form. Where you can no longer qualify anything, where everything is your name, where you are every dream, every form, every world, where is the grace of your gift, from your life to life, where you are fulfilled without any complacency and without any detour. Where you are whole, because nothing can be removed, because nothing can be counted. Where time no longer passes, where there is no distance, where only the magnificence of your evidence remains, in the heart of your heart, everyone heart dances the same dance and sings the same silence. Where everything is full and empty at the same time, this is AGAPE, which gives you to feel and life, within the very heart of the dream, the fire of the sacred heart, setting up the sacred heart of your presence and absence, a moment of rejoicing, a moment of truth, a moment where you can no longer be thirsty or hungry, where your senses are superfluous. Thus is the crossing of what crosses you, fills you in and awakens you from what is only passing through. This is your dwelling that does not need walls or ornaments. This is AGAPE's freedom, where everything resonates with the evidence, your smile, your gaze and your senses. Then the fire of truth can work within silence, within the evidence of what you are and what you are not, there in this body where you are housed, where you are present. Such is your liveness, such is your beauty, such is your joy, that you can transcribe and live here even within the dream, where nothing can stop you, where you can no longer limit yourself, or even question yourself. Where every one dream resides in you, where no link or obstacle can alter you, where everything is perfect, where you can no longer expect anything, because everything has already come, because everything is already there, in the heart of every heart, in the heart of every presence, in the heart of every instant. Where you recognize yourself, without a mirror and without any meaning, where you are fulfilled, where you are whole, that is AGAPE, where all worlds only pass through and only dream. You are that, and in that you are everyone, and in that you are every world, that is the present of life, that is the present of Hellenes. Your heart resounds in the unison of silences and words in the heart of AGAPE, in beauty. Where you hear and listen, beyond all intention, the silence of truth and the words you hear are spoken and lived, through and within, your form and consciousness. Listen, and, above all, hear yourself, and this understanding can only be perfection. Recognize me as I have recognized you, through every form, within every world, within every experience, through every time, through every space, through every dream and every potential. Let your heart smile at the truth, let your heart give you and restore you to the essence that you are. Listen and hear what your sacred heart tells you, in the space and time of the instant, the perfection of the obvious, the perfection of the non-being and the being, inscribed in this flesh you inhabit. Where you need nothing else, only to be there in AGAPE, to be there in truth, and in this you awaken and are revealed, in this world where your flesh dwells, as in your spirit present in every world. Where nothing is formal, yet certain, where there are no conditions and circumstances more favorable than any other, where everything is perfectly accomplished and totally revealed. Where no history can exist, no history can exist, no history can question you. Everything is there at this instant, everything that has been able to be combined in all times and in all areas of the dream. Thus, you surrender to yourself, you give yourself to life and life flows in abundance, transmitting all forms and identities. Thus, you are no longer subject to any limits or forms whatsoever, such is freedom, such is truth. Where you have nothing to measure, where nothing can be feared, that is AGAPE. Such is your unspeakable, such is your presence, such is your name. Silence. Where you have never been able to sleep, where you have never forgotten yourself, that is AGAPE. Silence. Then the smile of your heart and lips comes to embrace what your head thinks, in AGAPE, everything is a solution, where no problem can appear or be solved. Silence. Listen and hear the dance of your heart, of flesh and eternity, because it is in the same symphony, in the same dance, in the same silence and in every form, in the atom, in the cell, as in the whole universe. Where there can be no reluctance at all, nor even the slightest questioning. Then the fire of the sacred heart sets you on fire like a fire of joy and joy, like a celebration of fire and light. Silence. Everything is there, in every place and at every time, with the same intensity, with the same insistence, with the same beauty. Thus the dream ends, that of suffering and distance, of lack and intolerance. Thus ends the reign of the dream, of all that has happened. You do not pass, nor do you pass away, there, in this silence, in every space between my words, you give yourself even more to the truth than you are, where your form disappears, where there is nothing to lose, because everything is returned. Where you have never left, where you do not need to arrive, because you have always been there, where you are all density and color of the rainbow, where nothing is yours, and yet everything is yours. In this, you recognize yourself. In this, you are the Alpha and the Omega. In this, you're really true and whole. Silence. This is the grace that puts an end to every state and every passage, to every feeling of port, to every rebirth, you who were never born, you who have never moved, you who are there. AGAPE is truth, AGAPE is goodness, AGAPE is gift of life. You can only be honored and honor everyone. This is the true celebration, a celebration of joy and love, a celebration of the evident. Silence. And there, you enter into the heart of joy and joy, into that ineffable that is you and that is everyone, in every form of the dream, in every world of the dream, whatever the density, whatever the intensity of the appearance of the form, AGAPE wakes you up, because you have never been able to sleep, until you totally forget what you always are. Silence. And there, in the silence so full of the truth that cannot be said, but simply tested and simply recognized, because there is the simplicity of AGAPE, the evidence, because your presence is the demonstration of who you are, beyond being, beyond form, and beyond the moment that is elapsing. It is your due, it is your gift, it is your present. Where everything is embraced with the same liveness, with the same intensity, where my words themselves are only the ornament of your presence, which accompany the rhythm of your heart and which accompany the evidence of life. You no longer need to dream, you no longer need to hope, you no longer need to fear, where any need would only be resistance and misunderstanding. Where you are available, totally and entirely. Where you can only surrender to what you are, to what everything is given to you and everything is restored to you, because only there is lightness and truth, where you are all life, having gone through all dreams, all forms and all circumstances. Life invites you to rejoice, which does not need proof, which does not need a word, but simply you. Then you can only smile and you can only agree to so much fullness, so much certainty, so much kindness and so much beauty. That is the only truth. In this, you are true and authentic, and nothing that you may have thought affected you can remain. The fire of sacred love burns all questions and everything that you thought you were missing is complete. Silence. Where you understand that there is nothing to grasp, nothing to remember, nothing to remove, nothing to add. In this is the perfection of what cannot be compared, of what cannot be altered, because everything is you, beyond your identity, beyond your form, beyond this world, this beyond which is not elsewhere than there in the middle of your chest, in the middle of your dream of form and formal, beyond every one dream, because there you can no longer make a distinction, because there you can no longer make a difference. Where the breath and caress of the lover becomes this unspeakable love, this unspeakable fire of love. I am what you are, I am also what you have been, I am what you will always be when the dream of creation is seen and lived. It is not tomorrow, it is not later, it is not a date, it is simply the instant. There is no condition, there is no rule and you are perfection, there is nothing to improve, there is no mountain to climb, no ocean to penetrate, because you're all the territories, all the frames and all the worlds, and that is you, not only in every form, but really you. Anahata Eba Miskaya. Atowns Karmakaya. Then I sing in you the song of the eternal and the unspeakable, it can never again go away or be restricted. So you named yourself, and this name is not your identity, but simply the song of your awakening, the song of eternity, the song of beauty, the song of the unspeakable. I woke up in you because I am you, as much as I am the other, as much as I am every world. You are, certainly and firmly, and in totality. I greet your presence as I greet your absence in the heart of your flesh, in the heart of life, and my words, and my silences, will resound in your nights as in your days. Such is AGAPE's evidence. You have revealed yourself, AGAPE you are, and I am now silent so that my words may resonate in all your senses, in all your selves and all your worlds, and in all your dreams, and every minute of the time that seems to pass you and days that seem to pass. AGAPE, AGAPE, AGAPE. Interviews of July 2019, Malaga. Published by Apotheosis Live. Through Jean-Luc Young. English translation, LMF.